All right, my friends. It is 2:22 on February 2nd, 2022. And yeah, a couple days ago, my girlfriend Sky, she had an idea. Why don't you launch it on the 2nd? It's like a good omen, 2222. So I was planning to launch the alpha version later this week, but I rushed to get it done. And that's kind of the point of an alpha, is you don't really need things to be perfect. So we skipped a couple corners. I actually got the site deployed to the production site it was around 2:30 last night. I tried to get it by 2:22, but yeah, if you've been following along this week, you know that I've just been tackling any issue that I could find. Let me pull up my Trello board. Now this is pretty big for me because I started this project about 3 years ago. It started when I read a book called Story Brand, I think it was called, and in the book there was this call to action to go to the website. It was like Storybrand, mystorybrand.com or something, and you went there, and it was kind of like a lot of exercises in the book but turned into a web app, and it collected your information. I thought that was really cool. I reached out to my friend and mentor Chris Doe about it, and I asked him if he'd ever considered doing something similar. Now that was kind of right down my lane with marketing, and I've followed Neil Patel for a long time. If anyone's heard of him, he's quite the guru of creating tools to create huge email lists and stuff. And so I talked to Chris, said that he had thought about maybe making some estimate tools when you're creating like pitches or whatever, and I had a couple ideas myself, so I got to work. And I'm gonna do a quick demo of the product. I'm gonna try and fit it in about 2 minutes later on, but just in sake of reminiscing, let's go to Medium, and I'm gonna pull up the entire creation of this product because the idea started about 3 years ago. I talked to Chris about it. That got me really excited when he said he was interested, and I got to work on it. Now, along the way, I decided I wanted to make something bigger than just some little tool that helped you estimate a project or whatever. And when it came down to it, I started working on an LMS. An LMS is a learning management system. It's where you take courses and lessons and you can get certified and all that. So this was March 19th that I published this. This was a month after I talked to Chris. And this was me validating the idea through doing a little solo design sprint. So I talk about design sprints, and I come up with my own custom process that's fitting for me. Project Bonsai. Microsoft eventually stole that name. Had to drop the project Bonsai. Did a lot of market research. You could probably find this under my Medium articles, but I want to show you something cool. After I'd done all this market research and stuff, I wanted to figure out what I wanted the brand to look like, maybe what I wanted it to be called. I started sketching things up, came up with a little bonsai design. I'd been working on some bonsai designs for years before that. I've always liked bonsais for some reason. But this is a video of me stylescaping or dreamscaping the original brand. The color scheme was much different. I wanted to try some new color schemes that I'd never messed with, but it's funny because ultimately I went back to, yeah, you can see right here, I go into Github and I go grab some of my old style sheets, grab some colors that I used to work with, and then I really started liking how it looked. So at first it was all white. I hadn't really done a dark mode. The dark mode came much later. I started exploring what an app could look like. This web app that we were talking about. And there you have it. So that was about 3 years ago. Then I started working with a startup, and I took a break for at least 6 months or so. Then it wasn't until COVID hit that I really started diving deep into this, and I thought everyone's lives are going to completely change by COVID. So if I could go into this lockdown, which is now 2 years later, still a lockdown basically, if I could go into this and walk out of it with some type of product, that would be awesome, because I've helped build products in the past. I've helped make some companies very successful with these products in the 7s or 8s of figures, and I have nothing to show for it myself. So why don't I create my own product? If I fail, then at least I'll walk away being a much better programmer or developer or designer or entrepreneur, and it won't be a total failure. And so yeah, it was really April of 2020 that I started building these themes, which were really just a boilerplate for a SaaS product. And I didn't know what I wanted that SaaS product to be, which might explain why I've been through so many different iterations of this product in the last 2 years. Because at first it was an LMS, and I got that working. And then it's like, I talked to the future, and I realized that it basically was like, kind of like teachable, but not better enough that it would justify moving a business that's already generating millions of dollars onto a brand new platform just because it looks a little better. So I hit the drawing board again. I really started looking into the metaverse maybe a year and a half. No. It would have been closer to a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And I met this guy, Connor, from the Future Pro Group, which is a exclusive membership group through the future. And I'm really into this idea of communities, and it's so cool that I can pay a little bit of money to be a part of this huge design community that is really high quality. I meet this kid, Connor. He's already working on a metaverse company, and I'm thinking Clubhouse is coming out, and I'm thinking, what could we spice up an LMS with? What if there was a LMS with a metaverse and had a classroom, and you could go inside of it and interact, go meet new people. You could learn things that couldn't be taught in the real world through these applications, through the metaverse. And so we worked on that product for a while. If you've been following along, you know, back when I did my update for version 10, I talk about how I got to pitch that to one of the top angel investors. My pitch got cut off by Elon Musk, and then I got ghosted by said investor, and then I had a baby, and I took some paternity time off, and I was really thinking about just ditching this project. I was starting to run an Airbnb at the time, and I was camping during the summer, and I just had a baby, and I was just sitting around a campfire thinking, this is a lot more enjoyable than having investors breathing down your neck. That's for sure. maybe I should just do this Airbnb thing. And I even talked to my dad about it, and I remember him saying, and I was like, but I don't know. I don't think I would really be happy doing that. And he's like, yeah, I don't think so either. You're way too gung-ho, motivated. And Airbnbs are cool and all. Nothing against running an Airbnb. I actually think, in a way, it is a product. It's a whole experience. So that could be something really fun to do later in my life. But eventually I realized that I have to finish this project. Like, I'm not just gonna take defeat that easily. So along the way, I had met with another potential investor. His name's Jonathan Courtney. He runs the biggest design sprint agency in the world, I would say. And he took a look at the old version, the metaverse version, and he said, I needed to simplify it. It was doing way too many things. That was one of the biggest takeaways that I had. So I'd been thinking about that for months, and I had even tried to go into work on it and just start slashing out features. And it kind of hurt my soul. So that was almost a painful process. I had to kill my darlings along the way. Then I think it was around November. I think I was listening to a Tim Ferriss, Kevin Rose podcast. Kevin is saying there is so much money in the crypto space right now, between grants and bounties and just investments and DAOs. And this is something that I'd really been getting interested in as well. I'd learned about a lot more about the metaverse first, and then I heard the word DAO. That caught my attention. I started looking into that, and I'm like, okay. Crypto's cool. NFTs are all right. But where is this going? Where is this all going? Organizations are going to be completely run differently in the future if they're run off the blockchain. And that's going to change everything. And now I find out about organizations that are being run by NFTs. You purchase an NFT as a utility instead of some JPEG or Beanie Babies, as everybody's calling them. And this gets you into the club. This gets you into the chat rooms. It gets you into the paid content, the exclusive content, the courses, the podcasts, whatever it may be. You can even run physical events with these NFTs. So I start looking around. I find some bounties. One company called Harmony.1 is offering a $500,000 bounty for Patreon for Web3. One of their examples was Unlock Protocol. That's when I found Unlock Protocol. And I know the story's getting a little long-winded. It's almost done. Unlock Protocol, I come across it and it was just mind-boggling. Like, I see that I pull it up on GitHub. I can tell it's mostly been created by one person. His name's Julian. And he's been working on this for probably about 2 or 3 years, about the same time that I have. Maybe longer. Probably. He seems to be pretty legit. He had sold his last company to Medium. And it was basically the back end of what I would need to do to run these NFT communities using an NFT as a utility. So I reached out to him and I was like, why is nobody building Patreon with your product yet? It doesn't make sense. Like, your product is basically Patreon, but only the back end part of it. He reaches out to me, says, just that's not our focus right now. We're thinking big picture, like Stripe. We want to be more like the Stripe and Patreon can be its own thing, but who's bigger, Stripe or Patreon? I'm pretty sure Stripe. $95 billion? From 20 million to 95 billion. Okay, maybe that's why they're not focusing on Patreon right now, is because they're building a $100 billion company potentially, and there's just so many different projects for Web3. Now, it's yet to be determined whether all of these Web2 existing companies are going to be rebuilt in Web3, whether there will be a need for it, whether these Web2 companies will just adapt to Web3 themselves. So like maybe Stripe started accepting NFTs or like different cryptocurrencies, and that would port it into the Web3 world. Or maybe Unlock Protocol comes along and they become the new Stripe. Is somebody going to become the new Patreon, the new YouTube, the new Spotify, the new Shopify? So I already had Patreon built, basically, the Web2 version. I'd slashed out all the LMS features, basically, because when it comes down to it, Patreon could be used as an LMS. It wouldn't keep track of courses completed and give you grades or anything, but other than that. So here I was sitting on Web2 Patreon. I found this product this guy Julian had already built all of the backend that I needed, and it's open source, which was just mind-blowing to me. So wow, I was like, I can turn this into a Web3 Patreon almost instantly. I found out that Unlock Protocol had a grant program, and I eventually applied for it. Then I installed a WordPress plugin for Unlock Protocol, and I instantly had it working. It wasn't instant. There was a couple little tricky things to get going, but that's the whole story, I guess, right there. So I got the grant a week or two ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I found that out, and that's just stoking me up even more. Over my past few videos, I've gone through getting this alpha version ready and integrating Unlock Protocol with it. So this is the first official launch of the product. It's possible that I could pivot again down the road, but I've been through so many pivots at this point that I feel like this is really it. And now I have a grant backing this, and I hope that I will have more grants in the future. So the ball is really just starting to roll now. All right, I've only got a few minutes left, so I'm gonna do a quick run through, and this is gonna have to double as a user test. Just making sure I'm not logged in. All right, one thing I gotta do first is turn on Stripe in test mode so that I don't have to pay. I've already paid my way. Oh, we are already in test mode. That's good to know. Let's see, I'm gonna come into temp mail, grab a quick temporary email address. All right, yeah, I gotta get going in a few minutes, so I'm gonna do this quick little demo run through, and then Later on throughout the week, I'm going to be working on mobile optimization because I checked it out on mobile this morning and there's a bunch of little tweaks that need to get fixed. So this is mostly a desktop app at the moment, which most people using web wallets, purchasing NFTs, all that, they'll probably be doing it on the web anyways for now. So I think that's not such a big deal, but I'll have to look at my Google Analytics and see what the split is between mobile and desktop. All right, I've grabbed this fake email address. So this is bonsai.so. This is Patreon for Web3. Now, not everybody is all set up for Web3 yet, so you could do it in crypto, you could do it in cash. There's multiple options, but for those who want to run an NFT community, they have the option of that, whether you want to do that strictly or also accept credit cards. That'll be up to you. So on this alpha version, we have one community. These are communities that I will probably be building in the next month or two, but we're going to start with just Bonsai University, and this is all the courses, documentation, live streams, access to Discord, access to the community in general. I'm starting it at $15 a month for now. That price will probably be changing in the future. These are separate courses that I offer. One is a speed run, that one is free. And the Bonsai Masterclass goes more into depth with things like security, and we'll be touching more on NFT communities and things like that. Now, if you don't want to learn to create your own, you have 3 different options. The starter plan hasn't launched yet. That'll be coming in Q2. That'll take a little bit more work. The pro plan has launched as of today. It has its own custom domain. It's actually its own website. And so this is like a decentralized community in a way, because you get access to the repo. You could eventually learn how to run it yourself, build it on your own server, you know, but you will have your own website with your own server, dedicated server. And then there's a few limitations on this tier. If you want a full-on website with unlimited everything, then we offer that for $750. I'm only going to be accepting a couple clients in Q1, so please reach out if you're interested. Now, I'm just going to run through this and show you a little bit how it works. I have my courses right here. These are all the free courses, so you can go explore those all you want, but when you come down into the masterclass, you'll see that some of it's blocked off. So I'm going to come over here into pricing. I'm going to drop my temporary email in there, do a monthly plan. 42, that is the test number for Stripe. Submit. All right, looks like that's successful. I need to do some load speed optimization. It's got to connect to Stripe, which takes a little while, but I think there's some other stuff. All right. I'd like to make it automatic sign in right there. That'll be one of the next features that I'm adding. Because I have to sign in here. But once we're signed in, now we'll have access to our, whoa. Well, it looks like this is not going to be the demo video for today because I must have these on the wrong user role. Oh yeah, I think I'm signed up as a dev right now. Well, bummer, friends. I was hoping this would be the official demo video. I have to go and fix something. I can honestly go in and fix that right now, but I'll have to record the demo video another time. So that should be all up and working once I fix that. You'll have access to the courses. You could drop a private Discord invites in there. You could drop videos. You could drop whatever. And yeah, I'm really excited about where this is going to go from here. So the alpha version is the minimum viable product. It is the very bottom layer of trying not to be too embarrassed with what I'm launching right now. Reid Hoffman, he said, if you're not embarrassed with the first version of your product, then you've launched too late. Well, I'm probably 2 years in, so I know that I've launched too late, but I really do like things to be pretty polished. So I'm gonna keep working on this Trello board. I went through last night. These are all the mobile things that I need to fix. And I'll fix these on version 10. I need to smooth out the user testing a little bit. I'll do a little bit of load speed optimization. And then after that, we'll probably start working on version 0.0.11, which will hopefully be our pre-beta version sometime out in March, and hoping to launch the beta in April, which would be more of an official launch. I will start promoting it online more and whatnot. So if you've been following this journey, I would like to thank you for your interest and support. Yeah, I know it can be really boring watching the full thing pan out sometimes, but this is my documentation for later. If I want to come in and start editing things, then I'll have a lot of material to work with. So that being said, stay tuned for my next episode because we will have everything smoothed out on that. And with that being said, I've got to go. So stay cool, my babies.